to really think about. And the fourth thing is an advisory board. And so our advisory board that's made up of major corporations and sponsors that support us from networks helps you build and gain your network. So these four major components helps you develop in a holistic experience, not only preparing you academically, but by preparing you with hands-on experience and exposure by networking. The next portion is, how does NAF work? How NAF works. So work-based learning, we talked about that briefly in the last slide, but work-based learning, you'll hear referred to as WBL. Work-based learning connects your classes to skills you will need in the work world. So you'll hear some of your teachers, or you might hear your NAF Academy director say that there's an awesome work-based learning opportunity. And the purpose of work-based learning opportunities and the reason why they are so important is because it gives you the opportunity to really get hands-on experience. And so the goal with NAF is to make sure not only are you getting the curriculum and learning, but we want to make sure that you are actually having the experience in the field. And that might mean that you have a guest speaker coming to your classroom, whether that be in person or virtually, those field trips, and whether that's in person or virtually. These are all opportunities to give you the exposure that you need in order to succeed within your academy. The next thing is mentors, and mentorship is really, really important when you think about not only the NAF model, but you think about being a student at McKinley Tech. So there's a lot of things that come along with NAF, but there are a lot of great things. The next thing is going to be one of the most important things, and one of the things that our students love the most, and that's paid internships. Not only is it an awesome perk, but it's a requirement for graduation. So paid internships. Who doesn't like to get paid to get experience, build onto their resume while getting some cool experience and meetings and networking with some people along the way? So work-based learning, and now project-based learning. Some projects will be cross-curricular. So there are some projects that you're going to have where you might have it in one of your STEM classes, but then you might have it in an English class or a social studies class. And those are what we call project-based learning, where you are learning across curricular. And so it's really important, because that's how you get to learn that the things that you're learning in your STEM course, how it translates across the board in your curriculum and within the things you might do in your everyday life. The next thing. Okay, so NAF in DC. Here's where NAF started. So NAF started in 2013 in the district with 9 academies, and McKinley was proud to host 2 academies that first year. So we were 2 out of 9 academies, and that's a big deal. So if we started in 2013, if there was only 9 academies in the district and we were 2 of those 9, that means that we had a big staple in starting NAF academies and offering and extending this opportunity to students in the district. And those 2 academies were the Academy of Information Technology and the Academy of Engineering. Today, there are 25 academies within the District of Columbia Public Schools, as well as at several other charter schools. We are part of the DC Career Academy Network. So when you see DC CAN and DC NAF and NAF, DC CAN is our DC Career Academy Network. So that's a bigger umbrella that supports us here in DC and all of our academies. So when you see DC CAN, that kind of goes hand in hand with NAF. McKinley Academy of Biotechnology became a part of NAF as well. And proud Ms. Richardson is our first director, our official director of biotechnology. So we welcome biotechnology in 2019 and Director Richardson. So that's NAF here in DC. Now, let's talk a little bit more about NAF results for Academy graduates. What are the perks? What does this mean? So one thing we like to kind of brag about especially for students that graduate from McKinley Tech as a NAF student, is their increased college success. So 52% versus 32% earn bachelor's degrees. So being a part of a NAF academy means that you are being prepared for college in an even more significant way. So please make sure future self. Thank you. So that means that you are being prepared for your increased, the likelihood for you with post-secondary success is increased. And then there's the part about you earn more after school. So one of the things that we like to say is that the more experience that you have, the more experience that you have, the more likely you are to get opportunities. And one of the things about graduating from college that we know, it's not just about having your degree, it's about having experience. The privilege that you guys have in being a part of a NAF Academy is that a lot of you, if not all of you, are leaving high school with experience that some college students don't even have. So when we think about being a part of a NAF Academy, it's a part of a bigger network, a greater network that's giving you the experience that you need in order to be prepared for college and even life after college. You increase test scores and attendance. So we're saying that this model means that you are feeling more invested in your experience in school because of the experience that you have within this smaller family, within this big family, being a part of a smaller family who's holding you accountable and giving you a greater reason to be supported and also striving for excellence within this academy. So increased test scores and attendance, positive effects on independence, careers, plans, marriage, and parenting. You're learning a greater sense of independence here just in high school. You're already preparing yourself for life. And so these skills and these tools are preparing you in a way that's so complex that you might not even understand it yet until you move on to this next phase. So that's our NAF motto. The next thing, one of the things that I am so proud to say about our students here at McKinley Tech is that we are not too proud to boast. We are going to boast about this. Our students are getting accepted into some of schools. They're going to schools, they're participating in summer bridge programs, and they're getting these opportunities to have exposure. And colleges and universities want students from McKinley Tech. They want students from McKinley Tech because they know about they know that our students are being prepared not only socially but academically. So we're developing and we're preparing students holistically for what life is going to look like when they get to their campuses. So applying to college and the support that you'll have is endless between myself as a college and career manager, all three of our academy directors, and our amazing school counseling team. You have all of the support that you need in order to be prepared for life in college. So don't just think about NAF and this STEM track as something you're doing in high school. Think about it as an investment in your future. The next thing, I have the privilege of introducing our amazing Director of Biotechnology, our Academy Director, Ms. Sherry Richardson. Ms. Richardson, I'm passing it on to you.
Thank you, Ms. Pendergrass. All right. And I'm assuming you're going to take over admitting everyone. We still have folks joining, so thank you very much. Good evening, McKinley scholars and families. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sherry Richardson. I happily serve our school community as director of the Distinguished Academy of Biotechnology. Fun fact, we are the first and only Distinguished NAF Academy of Biotechnology in the nation. So kudos for being a part of STEM education history. We currently service roughly 189 students, supported by 3 academy teachers. So naturally, the next question is, what is biotechnology? And I'm positive if you ask your scholar this question right now, they'd be able to provide an accurate and profound explanation. But in a nutshell, biotechnology takes the theories presented by biology and biochemistry, combines them with engineering and information technology to actively sustain all life. So from your toothpaste to vaccines for COVID-19, biotechnology spearheads that innovation. Next slide, please. I think I can do it. Thank you. Okay, so to take a look at our courses, you'll see that we offer 4 courses. And beginning your 10th grade year, students are going to take a course called Biotech 1, or Intro to Biotechnology. And this is where they'll get to explore techniques, equipment, introductions to career pathways related to biotechnology, and just a sort of an introductory source of information as it pertains to assays utilized in biotechnology. In 11th grade, they're going to take on a more rigorous version of what they studied in Biotech 1, and this course is called DNA Technology. So everything that students learned in Biotech 1, they're going to upgrade it in 11th grade and Biotech 2, and they're going to begin to apply that information to the assays, to significant research topics as it pertains to public health and medicine in general, and they're going to get to explore that in even more depth. By 12th grade, they're going to take 2 courses. So Biotechnology 3, that's Applied Molecular Techniques, And here we really begin to drive home the importance of aseptic technique, appropriate behavior in a laboratory setting, and really how to begin to take their understanding of research and biotechnology and start to apply that to publishing information that they're researching. And our teachers do a fantastic job of incorporating that information into our curriculum. And for example, in applied molecular techniques this year, we're using plants as the model organism. So one of the things our scholars are working on is aquaponics. And with aquaponics, they actually are observing the relationship between fish, plants, and the microorganism bacteria. So they get to see how symbiosis actually impacts life and how these things can exist mutually and healthily to promote one another. And then finally, they're going to take a senior project, bioethics and senior project course. And in this course, they're going to explore a lot of the controversies around science, STEM, all of the above. And they're going to take the research that they've conducted throughout the previous 2 years and their Biotech 3 course, and they're going to create or construct an original research project. And they'll present those findings and that research experience at our senior project STEM fair. Next slide, thank you. So as far as goals are concerned, we don't just focus on curriculum. Curriculum is a big part, it's our foundation, but we like to enforce and to really support students throughout their journey with the curriculum by setting goals. So some of the goals of our academy are listed here. So for our Biotech 1 scholars, I know the majority of you are on the call, we decided to structure something called the Micro STEM Fair, and this was created in collaboration with our academy staff. We thought this would be a great idea and a great way to get students started and practicing what it takes to design a research project. So our Biotech 1 scholars will get to take everything that they're learning now with Dr. Schuster, and they're going to construct a research presentation, and they'll get to present that to our colleagues at McKinley Tech, and then also a few of our industry partners. As we transition on to Biotech 2, we're going to pay more attention to working with students that haven't published their work. That's one of the big goals for biotechnology. Our students are very innovative, very creative, and we want to give them all of the resources they need to support them in taking credit for their intellectual property, because that is exactly what it is. So some of that framework we're borrowing from JEI, or the Journal of Emerging Investigators. As they transition to Biotech 3, we're going to begin on focusing on having students present their research in more competitive STEM competitions. So Regeneron actually hosts a STEM competition known as the Science Talent Search. And in that competition, the first place winner is actually awarded $250,000. And these are high school students. So just to give you an example of the pretty high stakes that exist within this field, and these are the things that we are gearing and training our students to be prepared for. And then finally, as seniors, they're going to sit for BASE, or the Bioutility Assistant Credentialing Exam. And this credential is going to put them in a position to become more marketable to our industry partners and other facilities that want to work with our students, and corporations who are interested in the curriculum and the training that our students are receiving. So we are working right now to revamp our curriculum to ensure that our students are slated to pass that exam. And we don't do this on our own. We do this in collaboration with our external stakeholders. So we have a variety of partners. You see a list of them here. So from the DC Department of Forensic Science to Children's Hospital, USDA is an incredible partner, Trinity University. So we tap into all of our resources to make sure that we are providing our students the optimal experience as it pertains to STEM and biotechnology. And just a few of our features, we have been featured on ABC7, NPR, Washington Times, and one of our biggest supporters is the Ward 5 Council. So this is just an example of the relationships that we are building throughout our community, and we tap into those regularly to ensure that we are meeting our goals as an academy. Next slide. So speaking of all the incredible things that we are accomplishing within this academy, I'd be remiss not to have one of our scholars come and speak about her experience in biotechnology. So this evening, you're going to hear from one of our scholars who is distinguished in every way. She boasts an incredible, remarkable GPA. She's participated in internships. She's represented the biotechnology community very, very well, and she's a true example of academic excellence within STEM. So it's my pleasure to introduce Sorochi Awolike.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sorochi Obulige, and I am in the class of 2021, and I am currently in biotechnology. I am planning to study biochemistry in college and become an anesthesiologist. NAF Academy is a fantastic opportunity that we all get to experience. It has helped me establish my area of interest. The journey that I began in 10th grade has been nothing but fantastic. Being in NAF Academy means being around students I share career interests with and enjoy the labs together with. We get to do experiments together, which allows for an expansion of our parts of our knowledge in our STEMs. I am always exposed to different biotechnology companies or medical companies, which help me build relationships that could be beneficial in the future. This summer, I had the opportunity to intern at Children's Hospital under the Meteor internship. The internship process included filling out an application and my resume and a short personal statement. Then going on to do a group interview where they chose the final people that they wanted for the internship. The internship helped me expand my knowledge on anesthesiology and how an actual anesthesiologist feels about her career path. It helped me build a relationship with my mentor I would have never known without them. To my 10th graders, I would advise you to take advantage of all the opportunities that you encounter in your STEMs because the teachers are always looking for ways to get us opportunities and expand our knowledge. Now I have the opportunity to introduce Mr. Leslie, the director of our small but mighty Academy of Engineering. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sorochi. I appreciate the introduction. Yes, I'm Ken Leslie. I am the Director of Engineering, and just like to start with saying, what is engineering? And I like to think of engineering as the process of solving problems. The wonderful part of it is that we get to use the tools of math and science, and no matter what your personal interest is, there's an engineering discipline that addresses those issues. As Ms. Richardson pointed out, a lot of the work that's been done in biotechnology is done in conjunction with engineers who provide the tools and the opportunities to make these amazing discoveries that we are all being thankful for today. Next slide. So let's talk real quickly about the courses that you all will take. We have a total of 6 courses in engineering. As sophomores, most of you should already know this if you're in engineering. You're taking Introduction to Engineering Design, and that is an introduction to the design process. After that, actually at the same time for some of you, and for second semester for some, you're taking Principles of Engineering, which looks at the mechanics and the application of forces. Application of forces in engineering. Next slide. In the 11th grade, everyone will take a digital electronics course. Because of the way the world is going these days, it is absolutely necessary to understand the principles of electronics and the digital world that we live in. In addition to the digital electronics, you get to choose between aerospace engineering or computer integrated manufacturing. If you've got room in your schedule, you could take the other one in senior year, but I will say it's usually a little tight to do that. Usually just take one or the others are good. And then senior year is, in my mind, the best course of all in engineering is the Engineering Design and Development course. And that's where you are given, or you get to choose, a project of your own devising, and you take it from concept to functional prototype, which means it's a lot of work. It's very intense, but it is amazing to see some of the things that students have developed over the years. And I am always amazed at the cool stuff that comes out of those classes. Now, in addition to the curricular parts, I like to really emphasize that engineers should take part in something that addresses their passions, and that's the extracurricular engineering opportunities that we have. And this is open to everybody, though I know we do tend to have more engineers but I've had biotech students as well as IT students as part of my teams. So we have an award-winning robotics team, Firebird Robotics. We are the current champions of the EV Grand Prix, which is an electric vehicle racing team. We do a project with NASA called the Rover Challenge. We also have a rocketry team, which we are just now restarting, which it's been kind of almost hold for a while. We have a very active group called ACE Mentoring, and ACE is for architecture and civil engineering. And we have actual professionals in the industry come and help us. And I've had a few people ask me about drone racing. So if you really want to do drone racing, we got to talk about that, because in DC, that's a little tricky. Next slide, please. And at this point, I would like to introduce one of my wonderful juniors, class of 2022, if I can do the addition right, Dilshad Nair. And she has been part of the robotics team. She has been with ACE and is also part of our award-winning AdCap entrepreneurship team. Dilshad, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Leslie. Hey, I'm Dilshad. I'm a junior. I will graduate next year in June 2022. My STEM is engineering. I want to go to MIT or Columbia University, mainly because I like their curriculum and financial aid package. I also like their location. I welcome all of you who are entering our NAF Academy this year, especially engineering. Being in the NAF Academy means learning how to work together as a group, participate, and learn to share ideas. NAF Academy also helps with internships. Teachers really prepare you for future struggles and especially for colleges. I participated in an externship last year with ACE. I applied for that externship before summer and I had an interview. That externship really helped me to know more about architecture and manufacturing. I learned about different college degrees and how my mentors paid their loans after they graduate. I'm participating in a graphic design internship now. On that program, I'm learning mostly about arts and graphic design. One advice maybe I can give is AP and honors courses can sometimes be stressful. During that time, try to reach out and talk with your counselor or social workers. Remember, it's hard for everyone, and as long as you try your best, that's all that matters. Thank you everyone for listening, and I would like to welcome Mr. Home now, who is our Director of IT. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dilshad. As Dilshad said, my name is Robert Holm. I'm the director of the Information Technology Academy at McKinley Technology High School. And I want to give a warm welcome to parents and students from all the academies. As you can see already, that all the academies are very special in different ways. So I'm going to share about the Information Technology Academy, which can be mysterious to parents and students because it's actually made up of 3 programs of study. Because information technology covers such a wide swath of our society. So you guys in 10th grade are in the IT Academy if you have computer science with Mr. Kolbatz, digital media with Mr. Iacovoni, networking with Mr. Dazenbrook, or in web design or computer science with Mr. Kaiser. So the fact that we have the 3 programs of study kind of shows how diverse this field is, and it means that there's something in it for everyone. You know, many are motivated by it being one of the highest paid and most stable growing careers in this region. We're one of the biggest labor markets for technology in the world after Silicon Valley and maybe Seattle. You might be in it for that, so you can get really well paid. Or you might be in it because you really love cutting edge technology and you want to be on the forefront of what's happening. Information technology is moving so fast and affecting so many things from business to politics and news and beyond. Or you might be in it, and we have many of you as students are into the Information Technology Academy because you like art and design and want to use digital tools to make your art kind of come alive and use it for marketing or other artistic endeavors. Or we have a group of students who are in it because they love to take apart computers and fix them, and they're the young man or woman who everybody turns to fix their device when it goes down. So there's so many ways to use information technology. It's crucial for every kind of business. So I'll just share, especially for parents, if you're not sure what your student is doing in computer science, for example, one of the programs, they're learning the program languages that you see in movies, where somebody's on the screen writing that unusual language, but they're learning logic and they're learning how to think in a very logical way. And they use those things to develop stuff that we use every day. We're using right now on Teams. We're using on our mobile apps. We might do it for business or fun, like designing video games, and how to keep our money and our lives safe through cybersecurity. Like in robotics, there's hackathons, there's app challenges, and there are lots of activities outside of the school day that you can be involved in, including a video game club. Here's just an image of the things that it looks like in computer science. It might be coding like the guy on the right here, or it might be really unique ways of programming things for the medical field or elsewhere on the left. Next slide. So on that digital media track, that includes web design and digital media, social media, you're designing and creating all kinds of great tools like Photoshop, using that to enhance photos. You could make posters. You can see some examples of the work of students on this slide. You can do 3D modeling or animation if you want to go into the entertainment field, make movies, or design websites, which is something everybody needs. Next slide. So here's an example of something that 3D modeling students in the Digital Media Academy do. So definitely lots of fun, use of math and art. In networking, these are the folks that I told you are really setting up the hardware, fixing computers, setting up the actual networks that help us get all of our work done. And again, we wouldn't be on this Teams device and be able to reach each other without the people who build the networks. As in biotech, we have a lot of industry partners that help us, and there's a lot of interest from industry in developing our young people to be in their workforce. There's a big need for it. So Verizon and Microsoft both do app challenges that they support us with. Accenture is a huge intern host with 40 interns a year. SiriusXM takes us on tours. Cisco Academy actually is the basis of our networking academy, and other organizations that get us into internships. Next slide. So we have a lot of fun at the same time of being a rigorous model. So it's a lot of work. Here's a picture of us at a cybersecurity symposium that Fannie Mae puts on. As Ms. Pendergrass said, she and I are both here for you guys as the IT Academy as a support, and this is our contact information. And love to hear from you as students, of course, and you as parents. So I am going to introduce one of our outstanding students in the IT Academy. And by way of introducing Nathan McAlpine, I'm going to show a bit about a video in which he was featured. And just before we started, I want to say to all of you in all of these academies, you may not realize how special it is to be in a NAF Academy or at McKinley, but it's really taken notice of by people in the community. And Nathan's one of those prime examples, winning competitions in computer science, starting an internship in 10th grade, and you guys can get into internships in 10th grade. Usually it's for 11th graders, but if you're really outstanding and do great work in your STEM class, you can do something like this. And here's a spot where Nathan was featured. Ms. Pendergrass, that may take a moment to get started.
You guys can't see the video?
Not yet.
Okay, it's playing on my end.
Restaurants, pools, and theaters closed or slowly reopening. It's slim pickings for those teens looking for summer jobs.
You know,
we're having a bit of technical difficulty with our video. But like Mr. Holmes said, Nathan is an outstanding student at McKinley. I am going to drop the link for the video into the chat for you guys so that after this is over, if you want to take a moment just to see some of the great things that Nathan participated in, especially during this unprecedented times, and the things that you can learn from one of your upperclassmen. So I'll drop that in the chat for you, but I'll pass it back to Mr. Holmes so he can finish introducing Nathan.
Great. And we were able to play it. But it's probably one-on-one we'd be watching it. So Nathan, I'll tell a little bit about what was featured in the news story. This was on NBC. He was in a virtual internship at the Department of Homeland Security. So not only was he getting featured for his work there, but really serving our country. So that's his second internship. He also worked on an internship that served people in South Africa, Afghanistan, Cambodia, and he'll tell a little bit about that. He's a great example of how you can take what you're learning at McKinley and use it to improve the world in internships and other ways. So Nathan.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the warm welcome. Sadly, you couldn't see the news interview, but they pretty much hit on the points. It was more, I got to talk with the newscasters about my experience with the internship and the program that I went through to get them. But my name is Nathan McAlpine, and I'm a senior in the computer science department, which I think is the best department, by the way. And in the future, I hope to attend USC to major in computer science with a focus in game development. Though it's kind of delayed, I want to welcome you guys to the NAF Academy, which I hope you will find to be as amazing of an experience as it was for me, because I believe being in the NAF Academy is a distinction that really sets you apart above other students while also promoting fun and engaging experiences within the technological world. It's awesome to be surrounded by other dedicated students where you can do group work and share your passion for development, while also having the staff like Mr. Holm, who really cares about us and who wants to see us grow, not only as students, but as people. And in the NAF Academy at McKinley, I think it's so special because even, for example, their connection with On-Ramps to Careers, that's a system of professional development for youth in Washington, D.C. that even though we have this requirement to do internships and it seems super daunting, like, oh, I'm just a measly high schooler and I have to work with these big companies, it's programs like that do professional development, help you build your resumes and help you get ready for these internships that makes you feel so in place. And that's just something that's so special that I think you don't really find anywhere else. And it's just, it brings so much fun to the high school experience. So as they said, I've been a part of 2 internships. My first one I got when I was only 15 years old, which is really cool because I was working with seniors and college students at Indico to build a software management program for a nonprofit company called Skateistan. So they are on the other side of the world in Beijing, and they build skate parks and education centers in the Middle East. And that was really cool, getting to see how technology can bring people from all around the world together in just a fun and nurturing environment for development. And that was really awesome to see. And then this past summer, during the quarantine, I worked with the Department of Homeland Security. And there I was a data analyst. So I got to work to build dashboards in Excel, which I have a certification in, and Power BI. So those are 2 business-oriented kind of software, and it was really difficult at first, but I think the thing that you guys will see as you go through the program is, though some of these things may be hard or you might have to struggle with it, these people want to see you succeed. So as long as you just put your all in it, they will help you get there, and they understand you're not a professional or anything, but you're doing this for the experience, and so they want you to learn as you go. And so I think these internships have helped me with my own professional goals, like maybe wanting to start a software development business to help smaller businesses and nonprofits like I did the summer before, but it also built my maturity and confidence. It's something about working with other people in a professional environment that's like, oh, I can do this. I can go somewhere with this. And I think that's something you guys will all get to experience through your internships. It's just awesome. And I guess my advice would be to not be afraid to take advantage of these different opportunities. I know going in, it's a funny story. For my first internship, when I interviewed with the boss, I thought he was taller than me just because I was so nervous and scared of the whole experience. But come to find out, when I show up to the job, I'm like 2 or 3 inches taller. But it was just that mindset of, oh my gosh, this is some professional dude. I don't fit in. How am I going to get this? But building up my confidence through on ramps to careers and through the whole job experience in general was something that I feel like took my education to the next level. So if you guys go out and go for these opportunities and show real dedication, the people are there to help you all the way, and it's an awesome time. So I'm gonna pass it back to Mr. Holmes so he can introduce our guest employer speaker. You're muted, Mr. Holmes.
How about it? Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate it. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Well, you can see why we're so proud of our students, and for me especially, Nathan, even helping me in this moment. Um, he gets, you as parents are bringing the students so far along as you do, and we try to help bring them even further. We especially do that with the help of our employers. And it's my honor to introduce Mr. Nigel Rosser, and one of Mr. Leslie's former students, who's a proud McKinley graduate of 2007 in engineering, and one of the alumni we are most proud of. He's a manager of operations at Pepco Holding, your power company. So he both literally and figuratively brings the power back to McKinley. Nigel's not only one of the fastest rising young executives at Pepco, but I believe he's the youngest manager at his level in the company. But at the same time, he gives back to the community in many ways, and specifically to McKinley Tech. And he does that by speaking to students about careers, mentoring students, now organizing internship as a board member with On-Ramps to Careers that Nathan mentioned. And he spoke last year when we were able to do this event in person. So especially delighted to welcome back Nigel Rosser.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for that. First of all, can I do a mic check? Can everybody hear me?
You're good.
All right, awesome. So thank you so much, Robert, for that amazing introduction. So as Robert stated, my name is Nigel Rosser. I'm a fourth generation Washingtonian. I'm a graduate of the 2007 class of McKinley Tech. And I actually was just recently promoted back in May, but I'm a senior manager now. I'm the youngest senior manager currently at Pepco. I have a background and a story very similar to a lot of you students here on this call today. I'm going to start with giving a little bit about my background, and then I'll share a little about Pepco and my experience there. But my story is one of, and I stated this last year, my story is one of perseverance and determination. And a lot of times when I speak at these events, I say to students that, the students that, are, the kind of self-starters, the A and, the A plus and the A and B plus students, my message at times is not for them. And the reason I say that is because I don't feel like they need a message. I feel like, like I said, they're independent, they're self-starters, and more than likely, they will be where they need to be as far as their career and their development by their own works and effort. My story is one to, the C, low B, C, and D students like I was, right? Because that's the student that I was in McKinley. And I would say, and part of college as well. And I would say to those students, don't let where you currently are define where you're going to be. Um, I know that, for myself, it was tough. School was tough, but sticking to it was one of the most useful and one of the most powerful things that I've ever done in my life. Um, I came into McKinley in the 10th grade. McKinley wasn't open when I was a freshman. They had just opened in 2005 when I started with them. I was the SGA president of McKinley within my first year, but I actually had to give that up because I did not carry the GPA needed to continue as the SGA president, and that was very disappointing, right? And my career at McKinley didn't get much better than that. I graduated, I didn't have to go to summer school or anything, but I didn't graduate with a really high GPA. And I, knew that I wanted to go to college, but had no idea what I wanted to do, right? At the time, I wasn't fortunate for McKinley to have a NAF Academy so that I can be part of the engineering program. So I had an amazing amazing calculus teacher. I'm not sure if he's on the call tonight, but and I think that he's still teaching there at McKinley, but Mr. Hammond. And Mr. Hammond was electrical and computer engineer, right? And he's a person that I held near and dear. So I said, hey, look, I'm going to college. Let me get into electrical engineering. At the time, I had no idea how hard that program was, how difficult that program was. Um, if I had any idea, I'm not sure if I would have got into it. But I am one that I am, at times will not let things go. And I said, look, I'm in this thing. I'm either going to get an engineering degree or I'm going home without a degree. I refuse to switch my career or change my career path while I'm here. I in college, um, well, I'm sorry, at A&T, we have you have so many classes that you can drop with before you have to withdraw from the university. I think it's the number of credits is 17 that you can withdraw from the class without withdrawing from the university. I was at 16. I graduated at 16, one credit away from having to be removed from the university. And I think a lot of the driver and why I wasn't, I guess a self-starter and, a very studious student is because the motivation for me was when I seen the internship, right? And the motivation for me was, hey, look, you work this hard, and similar to what Robert and others said on this call is you work pretty hard in these STEM fields, and you can make a lot of money, right? And it wasn't until that I seen that it kind of hit home for me, right? And I don't know if it's any other students like that on this call. And what I would do is I would empower you to try to find other motivations if possible, right? Because I came really close to not getting a degree, but but like I said, the story is perseverance and determination. Because in the end, I actually did graduate. I ended up graduating with honors, surprising to probably everybody on this call. The last 2 years, I really worked my butt off when I was in A&T, and I was able to graduate with honors. And then that's where I started with Pepco and started my career. And I quickly excelled in the ranks in Pepco. I have been promoted. Each promotion that I've had has come in less than 2 years. As Robert stated earlier on this call, that I am the youngest senior manager there, and it's just an amazing opportunity. I have the ability to change some of my family's lives. I was the first male in my family to go to college, and first male in my family to, well, actually, first person in my family to become an engineer. And it's just, it's an overall amazing feeling. I know that things are tough at times, right? And a lot, and you guys, and these STEM fields have a lot of hard work ahead of you. Please, make sure that you stick to it, because it's well worth it, right? I can't say that any louder, that it's well worth sticking through this and seeing this thing through. And I on that earlier page that I seen that Pepco wasn't there on, as far as internships that we provide for McKinley, and I was a little disappointed in that. So I definitely want to say that, going forward next year around this time, that you guys will see Pepco's name, in big and bold letters, because we plan on hiring some of you all. We want McKinley technology students. We want NAF Academy students, and I would love to employ any of you all in the future. With that, that's all I had.
Great. Thank you so much, Nigel. Really appreciate it. And you can see how special it is and how inspiring it is to have employers and professionals that have been down the track that many of you have been, and give you a chance to see, kinds of possibilities for yourself. And we will definitely be having internships at Pepco, and Mr. Rosser continues to keep on stepping up his commitment to McKinley and on-ramps into other schools as well. But in the meantime, before you're ready for internships, we bring employers in to speak with you. So just showing a couple of slides, since unfortunately you guys don't get to be there in person this year. It will, as soon as we get back, be a big part of what you will experience. You are experiencing it on Zoom calls or Teams calls, but we bring speakers, we have events. You can go to the next slide. I think Ms. Pendergrass or Ms. Richardson, there you go. Thank you. We have lots of different projects and clubs and competitions. We love to get you all a chance to use your skills in lots of different ways. You see the EV car club, electric vehicle club. You see Mr. Leslie down there with his robotics. We had a app challenge down in the lower right there. We actually had some of our computer science students design a living useful app for DC public schools, and this year we had them do it for study abroad. We've got tours that you'll go on to Cisco. Some of the coolest things Biotech does. I think they went to see like a heart surgery. Lots of different tours and chances to do mentoring. Next slide. So we've highlighted internships a lot, and as Nathan said, we really try to get you exposure to people like Mr. Rosser in lots of ways, and get you the kind of culminating experiences that internship. So we want you to be getting ready for that, and even as 10th graders, you can do that. All right, I will hand it over to our next speaker, who I believe is Ms. Pendergrass again.
Wow. Such great information, so many great things. So proud to hear some our students speak, hearing from our directors, and thank you so much, Mr. Rosser, for telling your story, as your story resonates with so many of our students and even myself. Thank you for such an amazing word, and just being there to show our students and give our students the example that they need to know that they too can do it. So thank you for that. This section is all about our parents. So our students, whether it is a parent, whether it's a guardian, whether it's a mentor, it's all about the additional support that's at home. And so we ask, a lot of times when we think about students, we know that there's the external, how we have the internal support in school, but there's all of the other pieces that help us bring it all the way together. And so the support from you all at home means so much to us, because that's how we bring it full circle. So our parents to our students, and our students to our teachers, full circle. And that's what helps the NAF Academy model work. So one of the things that I would like to really say is to make sure your student is really invested and involved. And so keeping your student connected. And the big piece of that is making sure that they check their emails, that they're responsive, and they take advantage of these opportunities. So just checking in with your student to say, how are things going? Have you received any emails about internship opportunities, community service? What about the work-based learning? So some of the things that you learned about the NAF model this evening, check in with your student and ask them about those things. Give them words of encouragement, because Tech is a really great school, and we have the rigor that helps our students prepare for college. And that being with that rigor comes along with some pretty tough work at times. So we want you to give our students encouragement, and we want you to remind them of all of the great things, especially those that came before them, like Mr. Rosser. So encourage your students and share your own experiences. Our students, especially during this pandemic, they need your support. They need to know that they too can continue to persist and persevere through these challenging times. And so with all of the things going on with virtual learning and having to be able to adapt to these things, our students in this generation, especially the class of 2023, they are a step above in so many ways, because they're being prepared for life in a way that a lot of us weren't. So we ask that you continue to share your experiences, share encouragement with them, assist them with paperwork. A lot of our students don't necessarily know how to fill out professional paperwork yet. So some of those paperwork they might need your support with working through and filling out some documents to ensure that they've done things correctly, like our summer youth employment paperwork, which is required for students to complete in order to participate in internships. So making sure that they not only complete the paperwork, but complete it in a timely manner before deadlines. And make sure that with internships and things, that we give them the proper and support them with the proper tools so that they can develop the right levels of organization skills, time management, and things of that nature, which will also pour into their schooling. So those are ways that you can help, but you can also stay connected with us. You can follow us on social media, on Twitter, and we also have Instagram. So follow us on social media, stay connected, learn about our opportunities with NAF, our virtual college visits, and all of the things that we do to offer our students experience. I am going to now pass it over to Mr. Leslie. He's just going to run through what it takes to succeed.
Well, thank you, Ms. Pendergrass. I appreciate that. Let me just emphasize some of the themes that came through Mr. Rosser's, what he was talking about. High school, especially in today's world, it can be challenging. So these are 6 points that I think if you keep these in the front of your mind, you'll do well. So the first is explore. Make sure you are curious. Look around beyond just what's in the book in front of you, because that gives you a broader perspective on what you're actually trying to accomplish. Prioritize. Put the important things first, okay? Make sure you know what's due when, and then be prepared with it, okay? Grow. Now, I actually would call this more about communication, but grow your presentation and leadership skills. Trust me, when you get out into the workforce, you'll be like Mr. Rosser. People will see your skills and reward you for it, but you have to be able to communicate and you have to be able to lead. Now, preparing. Now, that's, in my mind, that's something you should be doing every day, is make sure you have everything in line, make sure you know where you're going so that when you get there, everything is ready. Prepare for your internships, prepare for your careers. Think ahead. Increase. Well, I hope this comes with time, because you need to increase maturity. You need to increase your ability to work in teams. You need to have initiative. Don't wait for things to come to you. You go to them. Take the initiative and move forward. And then the final, this gets back to what I was saying about the extracurriculars. Find something you're passionate about. If you have a passion for it, it's not work, and they'll pay you for it. That's awesome, because you're having fun, you're doing what you love to do, and you're making a living for you and your family. So put all those things together. It's not easy, but you can do it. Thank you. I'll pass it back to you, Ms. Pendergrass.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leslie. And I do second, and I definitely echo about finding your passion, because when you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like something that you're doing that you connect with. So I hope all of the things that we've discussed have throughout this evening that has resonated with you in a way. It makes you excited about being in your STEM. It makes you excited to be a part of NAF, and it makes you excited to get involved. And even though we're in a virtual space right now, that it helps you feel even more connected with our family and McKinley Tech. So here's some things, some next steps and some reminders and some things to consider, to think about. So a lot of you we got to see in person a few weeks back, where you guys came to pick up your boxes, and inside your boxes you had some cool swag, including your McKinley Tech polo for your NAF Academy. Your NAF Academy polo is kind of like you being it's like being inducted into something. So you got your academy polo now. You're no longer a freshman on the block. Now you're the sophomore. You got your polo. You're representing your STEM, and you're representing your NAF Academy. So you got that. You picked it up. Some of you weren't able to make it, and that's okay. So we are doing a makeup pickup box day, pick up your a makeup day to pick up your welcome box on December 16th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. We will be sending out emails to any students who were unable to pick up their box, just to give details about that, and on picking up your box. And again, it's just it has some cool swag in the inside of it. It has your polo in it, and even though you're in a virtual space, you still deserve to be recognized for taking this next step in your education endeavors here at McKinley Tech. Register for NAF track. So we've been drilling this a lot. Another thing we've been sending in your emails, and that we've talked about in your NAF, in your STEM classes. But if you have not done so, you're going to register for NAF track. NAF track is how you keep basically track of all of your classes that you take, to make sure that you're taking all of the necessary NAF courses to become NAF certified, to make sure that when you have internship that it's logged. So NAF track is what makes us ensure that we have all of your information, so that when you're finished at McKinley, you have that certificate that says that you are certified, you finished this program, and you finished this through NAF. The last thing, attend work-based learning events. So I know that you guys kind of get a lot of emails, and I get it. Trust me, I think we're all getting a lot of emails right now. But check your emails regularly, because those work-based learning opportunities and guest speakers and people that come to present, those are opportunities for you to make connections with people that are just like Mr. Rosser, that have opportunities. And so in this virtual space and in this time, you want to be able to make connections, meaningful connections, so that when it's time to be considered for internship opportunities, when it's time to be considered for scholarships and things of that nature, you want to make sure that you are the person that stands out. So make sure you check your email and participate in those types of events and opportunities that have been and will continue to come your way. All right, so I am going to pass it over to Ms. Richardson, who is going to help with questions and answers. So we're going to open up the floor for questions and answers at this and provide you guys with some answers at this time. So if you would like, you can feel free to type it in the chat, your question, or you can feel free to use your mic if you have any questions. So we're going to go ahead and open the floor for questions. Thank you guys for bearing with us. I know we're a little bit over time because we had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're going to go ahead and start with some questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ms. Pendergrass. So we have a couple of questions in the chat. We have one from Tiana Kozart. Would you like to come on and ask your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, for biotechnology, for our senior project, is it set up as kind of like a first come, first serve for research ideas?
Actually, in a way, yes. But the other interesting part, or the full answer to that question, would be, let's say you have a research topic and this is something you'd like to cover. We would evaluate and support you with that research topic. We would support you in sort of structuring your research design. And if another scholar had a similar idea, we would either have you all work together, partner up, or we would identify the variations of the research topic, however small they might be, they're still extremely significant. And so both of you could conduct an experiment that's similar, but still has its subtle differences. Great question. Next question from Kamathi. Would you like to come on and ask your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any opportunities for paid internships, or are most of the internships unpaid?
That is an excellent question. So as it pertains to biotech, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of all three academies, there are a variety of internships. Some of them will be paid, some of them can be unpaid. So it just depends on which one you're actually selected for, or the ones you decide to apply. But yes, there are opportunities to do both. Excellent question.
All right.
Ms. Pendergrass?
So I see that there's a number of questions about internships, and that's awesome. Many of you guys are asking about whether the internships are paid or unpaid and how internships are selected. And so these are really great questions because the internship process is pretty selective, and it is a process where you'll need to make sure that, again, you submit all of your stuff on time. So for example, our juniors are participating in something called Tenacity. And Tenacity is a workshop training that you are required to go through in order to have an internship. So that's the first step that you'll take. And you may have the opportunity actually to do Tenacity training during this spring. And so we'll be able to further to give more details of that within the coming weeks for you guys. And then you'll do something called a career readiness application, and there's steps to it that will support you with. But with that being said, in terms of internship opportunities, a lot of times when internships become available, we think about some students that would be best suited for that in some cases, and then other cases we take the things that you guys are your interest, and then we align that with internship opportunities as well. So it's a combination of both, but almost all of our internship opportunities, actually all of our internship opportunities are paid, and having the Tenacity training is what allows you to be paid more than the average dollar amount for internships. So a lot of great questions surrounding internships. Ms. Richardson, did we see any other questions? I see Mr. Holm. Thank you for taking the time to answer some of the questions in the chat. If there are no other questions, if anybody, Nathan, I see you have your hand raised. Nathan, did you want to say something?
No, I just saw somebody at me in a question. So, because I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, you know what? I might make an indie game that's free to play because I enjoyed those. So maybe I'll let you know.
Cool. Well, thank you. So somebody said, how long do internships normally last? So internships typically last from June until August. And so internships run for the duration of the summer. And then there are opportunities with internships that some of our seniors have during senior year, depending on if their schedule permits. Okay, Mr. Holmes says 6 weeks. And then who chooses students for the internship? So you guys, again, you go through the application process, but in terms of selecting students, our directors, between our directors and our CTE and myself, our CTE teachers and myself, we think about students who have been really engaged, who show up on time for class, who are actively involved and check their emails. And we look at things like that. When certain opportunities come our way, we automatically think of certain students because of those things. So there's still opportunities to apply for things, but some opportunities we automatically think of some students because of how you guys show up in the classroom, in and out of the virtual classroom. So great questions, guys. Are there any last questions for you all? I know that we're over time. I just wanted to be able to pass it over to Dr. Jackson so she can close us out. No problem, Zariah. I want to pass it over to Dr. Jackson so she can close us out.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pendergrass Dawson. And I just want to say thank you all for being present for our event tonight. We would have loved to have had this in our gym as we normally would, and serving you all with dinner and welcoming you face to face. However, we know due to the pandemic, we're not able to do so. But I certainly want to shout out our guest speaker for his awesome story. I truly appreciate you, Nigel. I don't know if you're still with us, but I certainly just want to say thank you for being willing to share and give back to the McKinley community. And just also just being able to give back to Washingtonians. So thank you so much for your willingness to support our school and our future endeavors with our students. I also just want to say a special thank you to Ms. Pendergrass Dawson, as well as the directors, Director Richardson, Director Holm, Director Leslie, for your efforts in putting together this NAF orientation for our 10th grade students. You all have done a phenomenal job, and we certainly thank you for your efforts with this. And for each student that is present representing your academy, I just want to say continue the hard work. It certainly is hard work, and I know that each of you can do your very best in your STEM and excel in your STEM. And I hope you all, as you matriculate throughout the rest of your high school career, and that you will become our leaders and really soar in these science fields of IT, engineering, and biotechnology. Again, I just want to say thank you all for your attendance tonight. And students, don't forget to be sure to log in and attend all your classes. As Ms. Pendergrass stated, that these are things that we take into consideration when we're considering our students for internships and other opportunities that we may be presented with. These are things that we think about. So please make sure that you're present, on time, and prompt, as you would also need to be that for your internships as you gain those throughout the years left that you have at McKinley. Again, thank you to the directors and Ms. Dawson for coordinating this event. You all have done a phenomenal job. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for your support, and AP West for your support as well for the NAF Academy. If everyone is clear, we are free to go. And again, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Make sure that you take down your director's email, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you check your emails. And remember, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is your better and your better is your best. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
You guys have a good night. Good job, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Good night, everyone.
Ms. Pendergrass, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is Kasha, but I was wondering if you had the information for the Web Institute. I was in a call when we did like the information about the Web Institute, and I was wondering if you had the ladies' information.
Yes. Can you send me an email and I'll send it over to you for the admissions director that was on the call?
Yes.
Yes, I can send that to you. Just shoot me an email, okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, great job, Ms. Pendergrass.
All right, it was success.
Very good. Makes me wonder, should we just do it like this every year?
I think we had good attendance. I think it was pretty good. I feel like a lot of students took away what they needed to take away from this experience. And a lot of good feedback in the chat too. So that was pretty cool. It also was cool to have Jessica be able to hop on just even for a quick second to, be able to introduce herself. So I thought that that was cool. And I think that we had decent numbers. I think it turned out pretty well.
It was about 120 at the top, so that's more than half of the, well, I guess their parents included, but probably mostly parents and students together, so that might represent numbers of students.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can imagine because I'm sure that most of them were in the same room together. So, yeah, I think it was great. And Dr. Jackson, AP West texted me and said that it was like really great. So
Yeah, I got the same test too, and Nigel was awesome. So,
yeah,
if anything, now we're gonna have to make sure the 11th graders get some internships because these 10th graders got excited about internships.
yeah, absolutely. I do think that I will tenacity for spring. I'll open it up for some sophomores to take advantage of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I almost said, hey, we got to put 11th graders first, but I didn't want to be a downer on them, so
Yeah.
go after it.
Yep. All right, Mr. Holm. Well, thank you so much. It was a success.
Definitely.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
All right. Bye.